welcome back to 52 Weekends. Several of you asked for me to do a video on how I built the bunk for under 50 bucks in under an hour for us to travel. So remember that the whole point of this is to get out on the road and travel. You've only got 52 weekends. Don't spend them building out a van. Spend them seeing cute little places like Leavenworth, Washington, where they think they're in the Alps. It was really cool to see. So here's the key. I started with door blanks or hollow core doors, and you can get these hollow core doors at Habitat for Humanity in your area for just a couple of bucks. And if you buy bifold doors, you can get 4 of them as one door kit for like 20 bucks. And then if you use some shelving brackets to strengthen them, a couple of things to keep in mind while we're looking at this is the way you build it out is you screw through, but you got to do it in the area of the door where there is some strength behind it out on the outer edges. So your cross pieces can't be right across from each other because you got to screw from the sides. The first one I built was for the low van here, and I did in fact use the shelving brackets to strengthen it. Didn't need to do that. Make sure that you get out your tubs that you're going to travel with, your coolers, and make sure that your rack system is at least 2-3 inches taller than your tallest cooler. But the lower you can make it, the better. You really want to be able to sit up in bed. So here I just grabbed our coolers, laid them out. I've got 12-inch and 15-inch and 24-inch door blanks, and in this case I used 15-inch door blanks. I rented the van this last time. I always rent the van for 7 days, and you have it for when you dropped it off. You've got to have it back in 23.5 hours. So if you're going to keep it until 4 o'clock on the day you come back to town, you can't pick it up until 4:30. So when I went to pick up the van, instead of a low roof, they had this high roof van for me, which was super cool, which meant that my rack system could really be higher. And since we're going to be gone for 2 weeks, I went ahead and built a new one. We picked up the van and I wanted to put it together and get out of town, but after I took it apart and before I stacked it up in the attic, this is what I had: a ping pong table to sleep on, and I used actual 32-inch doors because we had that tall van. So when I dropped it in the van here, I just dropped a 32-inch door there, and then I dropped another 32-inch door there, and I dropped a 32-inch door on the end, and I made those 2 cross pieces in between, dropped the ping pong table on top, screwed it together, and away we went. I've been building with these kinds of door blanks for years because, again, it's the cheapest shelving out there. So go to Habitat, get some hollow core doors, and make sure you use these kind of little stove head screws, they call them, not an indenting screw like a drywall screw, and get them a couple inches long. And they've got to have this, the first 1.25 inches not be threaded. That way when you pull it together, it isn't pulling on this outer door, it's pulling on the door behind it you're grabbing, and you only put the screws where there's support, the outer edges of the doors. And again, I've been building shelves like this for years. They sag in the middle if you don't have good support, but they're great for the uprights, and as long as you do have support, they're really great to use. So going back, this was my original setup for a low van. Again, if you rent a low van and you get some 15-inch doors, or if you got a low enough cooler, 12-inch doors, again, I encourage you to stay as low as you can because you want that ability to sit up in bed and throw stuff up on top of the bed when you get going. And again, don't overthink it because the goal is to get out in the woods. This was Mount Rainier, and you can see this was the tall bed with the 32-inch doors and the traditional home mattress sit on the top. A couple of 32-inch doors, 3 of them to go forward and back, and then 2 sideways panels to keep it from shaking around. And like I'm pointing here, I wanted to hang mine in my attic when I got done. So again, you just drop them in, put your cross pieces in, and then screw that ping pong table on the top, and you're good to go. One thing I did want to mention is, again, the wife wants to make sure we're not going to get killed, and it's a smart thing to do anyway. I just took some motorcycle tie downs and ran a strap across the front, so if I would have hit the brakes really hard, we would have been okay because it would have kept it from going forward. I'm sure you could build like a netting piece out of straps so somebody could be sleeping back there but not come through. Also, you'll notice here, sorry about the sidewaysness, I've got these bungees all over on the roof, and we strap stuff so when we travel we can hang 10 backpacks on each side. Don't waste your time trying to build cabinets, just dig out some backpacks, because again, you want to get here, you don't want to be spending all your time here. So that's it. Here's a little shot of Missoula, Montana. Again, rent the van for a week. Don't spend more than an hour putting that bunk together. Just make sure it's solid and that it's not going to kill you if you get in an accident. Get out and see the world. Again, this was the second day of our stop, driving across the Midwest to get to it. But this is the view from Missoula. It took us about an hour to hike up there. Got to see the world around. Then we went back down, got something to eat in Missoula, and then we kept heading west. So remember, you only got 52 weekends. Don't waste them. If you love doing woodworking, great, build it. If you're just trying to get out there, then get out there. A lot of cool stuff to see in the world. Don't spend all your time in the garage. If you love to do woodworking, hey, this isn't for you. Build something cool that you love. But if you just want to get out there, again, rent the van, at least a week, get the unlimited mileage, spend an hour or so building that bunk. Make sure you've got the screws, the door panels, and a big enough piece of plywood or a ping pong table like I used, and just get on the road, get out there. Again, this is about an hour hike up Missoula after being on the road for the first day and a half. This was a good stop, cool to see. Spent a little bit of time, got back on the road, and got west. Thanks again. Subscribe.